When Nancy called a few weeks back and asked me to say a few words this evening, I couldn't say yes fast enough. It's not because of my love for talking, as some of you that know me may well suggest, but rather it was about me having an opportunity to repay Hospice Prince Edward for their efforts in making my dad's last days comfortable and allowing him to pass with dignity. My exposure to hospice actually dates back a few years ago to my role as municipal councillor. Nancy Parks would appear before council from time to time and tell us about this project they were working on called hospice. I have to admit, at that time I really didn't understand what a hospice was. But I could tell by the passion of Nancy's voice and the enthusiasm of the respected community members she brought to the meetings in tow that this had to be a good thing for the county, and I supported it at every opportunity I had. Little did I know sitting at those meetings how important this hospice thing was going to be to our family sooner than I would have ever imagined. My dad, Gale, was first diagnosed on December 2nd of last year with stage 3 pancreatic cancer. I got to talk fast, I got 1% memory. We soon learned that the prognosis was not good and his time with us would be limited. We had to make the best of a horrible situation and start making plans for that dreadful day. In the spring, I took it upon myself to ask my fellow councillor Heather Campbell for a tour of hospice to see firsthand if this was something we should be considering down the road. I was impressed, and a few months later, my mother Nancy and sister Lisa were introduced to it. We came away from that second visit with the reassurance that this was the best place for my dad to be cared for when that time came. That time came on the morning of August 15th. When my dad was beginning to show a more rapid decline in his health. A home visit from the doctor confirmed that this was the time for going to hospice. The time for going to hospice was imminent. So what I did was what I'd done several times before. I called Heather. Heather had become my crutch so many times since my dad's illness. And she expedited the process and working with the doctor helped to admit my dad into hospice by day's end. Now first of all, I'd like to touch on the nursing care we received at hospice. But believe me, this was just the tip of the iceberg. The nursing care was second to none. All of my dad's needs were, I just lost my memory. Basically, all of my dad's needs were attended to in a very timely and professional manner. Anything we asked for, we were given. The nurses were there, we opened the door, and they came in. But the biggest part of hospice happened outside of my dad's room. Anybody that's been in hospice knows the layout. There's a family area with a living room, a kitchen, and a dining area. And basically that's where the family takes up camp and all their loved ones there. And take up camp is exactly what the Gale Gilmore clan did. If you happened to drop by there when my dad was there, it was like you were visiting our own house. We had iPads and chargers charging, we had crock pots plugged in, we had empty pizza boxes, clothes hanging on the chairs, photo albums on the table, books on the coffee tables, sleeping bags and pillows on the floor. We even had a few beer in the fridge and a couple of bottles of Sandbanks tobacco and more on the counter. Can't remember everything I said in there, but the only time we basically left there was for a quick shower. And unlike a hospital, I mean no disrespect to a hospital when I say this, friends and family were welcome at all times when they came. Whether they came to visit my dad, or they came to give us some love and encouragement, the door was open. We had my 12-month-old at the time granddaughter and my 18-month-old grandson that were running around wild, which broke the tension, took away a lot of the tears at the time. And again, we couldn't have done that at the hospital if that had happened. The door to my dad's room was like a revolving door. Inside the room, we were given the opportunity to make a collage of photos. We brought in personal items. We played music. We had a quilt from Friendship Church over him. And at all times, he was attended by somebody close to him because that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make sure that he wasn't alone. As for the volunteers, I can't say enough for what you do. Talking to Marianne. Marianne, you were there one time cleaning up behind us. She had quite a job, I'll tell you. We gave her quite a job. But at no time when we were there did we ever feel like we were an inconvenience to anybody. It was always sit down, we'll take care of it, we'll do the dishes, we'll do this, we'll do that. And we were allowed to have our time with my dad for those final days. And as a family, we probably found a connection, a bond that we didn't even know existed because of your building, because of the Hospice Prince Edward residence on 40 Downes Ave. I'm going to cut short because I can't remember everything that was said in there, but the one of my favorite quotes comes from the movie Pearl Harbor, when Alec Baldwin says, "There's nothing stronger than the heart of a volunteer." We have many volunteers in Prince Edward County, and have for a number of years. But I will tell everybody here that volunteers for hospice, I didn't think it was going to be this tough. Your generosity, your commitment of time, your devotion is appreciated by all of us. To the Gale family, you already have achieved the Center of Excellence at 40 Downes Avenue. I honestly believe that when we come into this world, we are welcomed into the hands of people that love us, surrounded by the people that love us. And because of Hospice Prince Edward, my dad had an opportunity to end this journey and to start the next journey, holding the hands of the people that loved him and being surrounded by the people that loved him. I thank you for that.